willing to discuss the concept of object-oriented programming. As far we have not discussed the concepts of OOPS, and it is very important. It is very important as per the like curriculum also, because there is a complete chapter regarding this in your course. So today I'm just going to start with the OOPS concepts. So first of all, when we are talking about OOPS, that is programming concept. Programming, that is OOPS. There are basically an object. Then after the 10 methods, data. Then inheritance. Separated. So first of all, when talking about a class, so when we are talk about the classes, basically what happens that like you are attending a class and this is a Java class. Similarly, if you think about your school, so in your class there are multiple students and they belong to class 10th. So all the students who belong to class 10th uh, study in the same room. When we consider that room, then it is called a class. If at any time another class is going on in that room, then it will be denoted with that name. Like if it was a Python class, it will be called Python class. It is a Java class, so we are calling it Java class because all the students or the students which are studying in this particular class belongs to Java class. So collection of similar type things are known as class. So basically class is a representation of a collection. Class is a collection of similar elements. All the students are similar as they are studying the same content, they belong to same class. Maybe their values are different, like their data, like when we talk about okay, when we talk about a student, so the name of the student, the age of the student, the roll number, even the address, the mobile number, everything, the properties of the student vary, but they all belong to the same class, belonging on depending on a single property. Like it must be the subject, it must be the like they are enrolled into the same class or something like that. So class is a collection of similar elements. First of all, class is a collection of similar elements. So another object, another thing is object, and another I'm coming towards object. So when we talk about object, basically objects are the real life entity. So real life entity means the things which are tangible, which we can see, which can touch, are known as tangible things, and the objects are basically tangible. So if I consider an example of pen, like consider an Edgel pen. So when you are considering an Edgel pen, just imagine when you go to the shop, the stationery shop, to purchase that pen, and you ask the shopkeeper to give you Edgel pen. So there are there is not a single pen. There are numerous pens available of the same color, same size, same look, and same pen. So there are multiple Edgel pen on that shop, and you will purchase a single. So what happens when we talk about an object? We are having a one, but there are multiple objects at the same time. So all the Edgel pen which are present in the market in India, in world, so they all belong to which class? They belong to Edgel class because all the pens look similar, they are having similar properties, but they are different objects. Like all the students are individual students, they are having their own property, but they belong to the student class because they will always be called student, but they are having different properties. Similarly, in the case of pen also, each and every real life entity, like the laptop, everything which we can see, we can touch. Laptop, mobile, pen, computer, anything, any tangible thing which we can touch, that is known as tangible. So everything which we can see and touch is known as object. And whenever there is an object, that means there must be a class. Whenever there is an object, there must be a class. Always remember. So the next thing which I will talk about, that is data abstraction. So the third concept is, sorry, data and methods. Data and methods. So when we talk about data and methods, basically what happens that whenever there is an object, it must be having some data. Like when we talk about that HL pen, the same pen which we are going to, which we were purchasing, that HL pen is having some properties like its body, its cap, its color, its refill, its ink. Each and everything which belongs to an object is known as its data. So data, what is data? Each and every which belongs to an object is called its data. Each and everything which belongs to an object is called data. So data means everything which belongs to the object. And when we talk about method, basically what is a method? Every working, like method means process means functionality, the behavior. What behavior does a pen shows? It shows a behavior of writing. What behavior does a laptop show, or a fan show? A fan shows a behavior that it gives us air, or wind, we can say. So whenever we talk about an object, it is having some data and also the method. All the behavior implementation is known as the method, and all the belongings of an object is called its data. So behavior of an object. So basically method is the behavior implementation of an object, that what an object is basically doing, the process which it is showing. Okay, we can call it a function also. uh, Function. So function, some functions are represented by the objects. So basically every object has some data and also shows some method, that is the function. So now I'm just coming towards the concept of data abstraction. So when we are talking about data abstraction, basically abstraction means, basically abstraction is a phenomena, and this abstraction word is like it is derived from the word abstract. This is derived from the word abstract, data abstraction, and the meaning of abstraction is focusing on the essential details, on the essential, and leaving the non-essential. So, like everybody have a switchboard in their rooms. We have multiple switchboards in our home, and every switchboard contains different switches. So, every switchboard contains different switches and different functionality. We always remember that which particular switch is meant for which purpose. Like you must be remembering that which switch is for fan, which is for bulb, which is for tube light, which is for anything else. So we all remember the switches that which belong to which switch belongs to which particular equipment. But have you ever noticed or focused that in behind the switch, which particular color wire has been used? Like which wire for neutral, which wire for phase? Has the switch having the black wire for neutral or the green wire for phase? Generally people not does not notice them. है ना? Everybody do not think about that which wire should have been used and which is used or not, until unless you open that because of some purpose, like there is some problem then. And if suppose somebody is like, you are wondering about purchasing a bike. Suppose you are thinking that I will purchase, when I will purchase a bike, I will purchase a blue color bike or a black color bike. It will be Pulsar or any particular model. It must be having this much cc or this much mileage. The average must be this much. You all, matlab, a person figure out in mind that this particular bike I will purchase. Now when you go to the showroom, you ask for the same one, and if there is something like that particular color which you are willing to purchase it not available, so you will say that okay, I will wait for it, or I will purchase from some another showroom. So the features whichever you need, you will focus. But Has somebody ever said that if the color or inside the tank, petrol tank is red, then only I will purchase the bike? Nobody focuses that which particular color is inside the petrol tank, or from where does the brake wire is going. Nobody focus on this, because what is essential to us, we focus on them also. So the concept of abstraction is similar. So that is focusing on the essential details and leaving the non-essential. So which the things which are not essential to us, we would not focus on them. We will just leave them. We will not hide them. We will leave them, because it is not of our consideration. But if we talk about the electrician, so the electrician must remember always that which particular wire he uses for the phase and which one for the neutral. So because he must be doing the wiring in multiple homes, so he always use the same thing. So that's why this is his consideration, so he will focus on that. Yes, the electrician must not remember in our house which particular switch works for what, because it is not his focus. Okay, so focusing on the essential details and leaving the non-essential is the concept of abstraction. So next, I'm just coming towards the concept of encapsulation. So the concept of encapsulation is basically derived from the word capsule. It is derived from the word capsule. And now when we talk about capsule, like encapsulation is a phenomenon, and it is derived from the word capsule. So basically, when considering a capsule or a tablet, so basically a capsule, when we think about it, is we know about the multivitamin capsules, and we have heard about calcium sandals, the calcium tablets. So usually what happens, the tablets are a combination of a single component. Like, I'm not talking about in the terms of medical. We are not talking about in that terms, but in general, we can say that basically tablets are composition of single component maybe. But when we talk about any capsule, so what happens? Like I talked about multivitamin capsule. So a multivitamin capsule is basically a combination of multiple vitamins. So a capsule can be thought about like it is a combination of multiple components. So we can define encapsulation also in the same terms, like binding up of data and methods to a single unit. So encapsulation means binding up of data and methods into a single unit. So the concept of encapsulation say that when we bind up different data and methods into a single unit, then it is called encapsulation. Like if we can take a good example, like object could be a good example of encapsulation, because when we talk about object, there also there is a combination of different data and methods, as we have talked about. So object is also a combination of different data and methods, so it could be an example of encapsulation. So next concept comes about polymorphism. So next is polymorphism. I'm taking sixth one is. So when we talk about polymorphism, polymorphism is basically again a phenomena, and basically it is derived from the word polymorph. So polymorph. So when we talk about polymorphism, as it is derived from the word polymorph, and poly means many, as you know about polygon. So poly plus morph, poly means many, and morph means form. So morph means forms. So this is many forms. So yes, like if we take some example, so if we are talking about a shape, so if we are having a shape class, and that shape must have some area. So like if we implement some formula of rectangle, then that shape would be considered as rectangle. If oval, then oval, triangle, square, whatever shape it is, it would be a shape only. So basically what is happening, a same name is having multiple forms. Like a shape could be a rectangle, an oval, a triangle, a circle, or a square even. So basically, when we talk about polymorphism, it is a good example. Generally, it is considered in the programming also. Like we create a class shape and we implement area of multiple shapes just by changing their formulas. Okay, so this is like polymorphism. This is a concept of polymorphism. Okay, so when we the next one and the last one, that is inheritance. So when we talk about inheritance, basically inheritance basically gives is a relationship. It represents is a relationship. That means when we are talking about inheritance, there could be, like, I'm just giving an example, parent child relationship. Yes, parent child relationship is very good example, and it's a very basic example of inheritance. Like in biology, everybody has studied about parent child relationship. So similarly here also, the concept of inheritance is similar. Like we inherit the properties from our parents. Similarly, a class inherits the properties from another class. Like this is a person class, and this is student class. Let me create it. This is student class, and this one is employee class. Employee class. So basically, what is happening? The student class is also inheriting the properties of person class, and the employee class is also inheriting the properties of person class. So basically, what is happening? We can say that a student is a person, employee is a person. That means this is the inheritance. So whenever there is inheritance, one class is inheriting the properties of another. So there is a relationship. Okay, so like there are different types of inheritance. Let me tell you types of inheritance. There are 5 different types of inheritance, and first one is single inheritance. The second one is hierarchical inheritance, then multi-level inheritance, then after that hybrid inheritance, and it's hybrid, and then multiple inheritance. So basically, these are 5 different kinds of inheritance, 5 different types of inheritance, which we basically use. So when I'm talking about the single inheritance, the first one, single inheritance. So in single inheritance, what happens? A single class inherits the properties of another class. Like there were two classes. Uh, okay, let me just draw it here. Yes, like there were two classes, and this was like class A. The first one was the class A, and this one is class B. So basically, what happens? The class which is giving the properties, like A class here is giving the properties. So the class which is giving the properties is called as superclass, or we can call it base class, or we can call it parent class. And the class which is inheriting the properties, which is taking the properties, is basically called subclass, or derived class, or we can say child class. So these are the terminologies which are used for inheritance. This is the example of single inheritance. When a single class is inheriting the properties of another single class, then it is called single inheritance. The another example, the second one, is the hierarchical inheritance, and this one which I have made here, it's hierarchical inheritance. Hierarchical inheritance, because whenever multiple classes are inheriting properties of a single class, whenever multiple classes are inheriting the properties of a single class, then it is known as hierarchical inheritance. It basically follows the tree like structure and a top bottom approach, top down approach. So basically, this is the top class, this is the bottom class, the person is the top one, and the base classes are the derived classes are student and employee. So it follows the top down approach, and it is tree like structure, and this is called a hierarchical inheritance. Okay, so as we have already discussed the first two inheritance, single inheritance and hierarchical inheritance. So now I'm just coming towards the next one, and that is multi-level inheritance. So when we are talking about multi-level inheritance, basically multi-level inheritance is represents a grandparent relationship. So multi-level inheritance represents a grandparent relationship, and here what happens? The base class, like this is the base class A, and class B is inheriting the properties of class A, and class C is inheriting the properties of class B. So basically the class A is known as grandparent of the class C, because class C is extending the properties of B, and B is having A's property. So what will happen? C would also be having the property of class A. Okay, let me tell you multi-level inheritance it is. So basically you can see that there are multiple levels. When we are talking about multi-level inheritance, there are multiple levels in the inheritance. Basically what is happening, class C is inheriting the properties of class B. So basically class C is having B's properties, and B is also having class A properties, because it is inheriting A. So what will happen, as B is also having properties of A, class C will automatically get the properties of A. So this type of structure, like multi-level, when there are multiple levels, like you can say A, then B, then C, maybe D, E. So when there is multiple level, then it is called grandparent relationship. So class A is basically acting as a grandparent of class C, and class C is just like grandchild. Okay, like let me give you a real life example regarding this. So whenever if you think about mobile phones, so you must have seen those mobiles also, which are black and white. They are not having any multimedia features, they are black and white simple phones. So those phones which are not having any properties, they are having only calling and messaging features. Okay, so now when we talk about mobile phones, what happened, when the mobile phone like keypad one has came, which was not having any extra features, only calling and messaging was there. So after that new mobiles came, and they were having, after those new mobiles came, they were having features like they were having radio, they were having MP3, MP4 there. Then after some time, new mobiles came, they were also having internet also. Then again, new mobiles came, they were having camera also. After that, time goes on, and now we can see that which kind of mobiles which we are using. They are smartphones, and they are having numerous features like location, GPS, and many more. So what is happening, basically companies are, when they are working on a mobile phone, in the older time, after one launch of a mobile, they took a lot of time to launch another phone. But these days what happened, suppose today a new phone has launched by Samsung. Within 2 months, another model will be in the market, even in the 1.5 month. So now the things are that the frequency, or we can say the speed of creating new mobiles and new devices has been increased. This is just because of inheritance. Because what happens, like as in the starting, they were having few features. They just use the features which suppose, let me create an example here. Let me tell you with this example. Okay, this is M1, that is mobile one. This is M2, this is M3, and this one is MN, like that is N number of nth number. Okay, so like in between there must be many other. So let me just explain you. Okay, so this is nth phone. Now let me tell you, this was having only calling feature, calling messaging. This was the basic feature which generally those black and white mobile keypad one were having. After that, the enhancement goes, and the new mobiles were having calling, messaging. I'm writing in short, messaging, and radio also. Then after that, the mobiles came. They were having calling also, messaging also, radio, MP3, MP4 player, camera, etc., etc. So they were having a lot of feature. Then today, what we are having, you know very well. So the phones which we are having today. So basically, today what is basically having, as the I was just talking about the speed of development. The phones which we are having today, and when a company launches a new model of their like any model of the company Samsung has launched, so what happens, within few months, within few days even, another model comes into the market. This happens because of the concept of inheritance. What the companies are doing these days to make the creation fast, they just inherit the features from the old one. A phone is having 4 GB RAM, it is having 64 internal, or it is having some camera, some Android configuration, something like that. They just take the features, existing features, and add on the new features in the new mobile. They don't keep on coding from the very scratch. They do not code from the very scratch. They just take the features which are already existing and then add on the new features. So this just reduces their time of creating new device. So basically in this way they are using inheritance and making the speed of uh, launching the new phones fast. So the next one is the hybrid inheritance. Next one is the hybrid inheritance. So when we talk about hybrid means mixture. Okay, hybrid means mixture. So if we are having a structure which is representing a mixture of different inheritance, then it must be called hybrid inheritance. If we are having a structure like this, let me draw it, and this structure. So this kind of structure is having a mixture of different inheritance. Like suppose this is class A, this is class B, and say this one is the class C. So this particular inheritance is multi-level. You can see this is representing multi-level. How you can see? Wait a minute. Yes, you can see this is a multi-level inheritance. And again, what is happening? This particular is representing hierarchical inheritance. So what is happening? Here are two inheritance combined. So when there is a combination of more than one inheritance in a single program, or in a single program or application, then it is called hybrid inheritance. So in the hybrid inheritance, there is a mixture of different inheritance. The mixture of different inheritance is represented, and that is called hybrid. Now, when we talk about the multiple inheritance, so in the case of multiple inheritance, what happens that there are more than one superclasses and only single subclass, like class A and class B are the superclasses. Sorry, class B are the superclasses, and the class C is the subclass. So this kind of structure, which is having more than one superclasses and only one subclass, that is known as multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance. Okay. So multiple inheritance actually is not so far possible in Java. In Java, we cannot implement the concept of multiple inheritance. Like multiple inheritance is that we are having multiple superclasses and one subclass. So this particular structure in which we have multiple superclasses and only one subclass is not applicable in Java. But there is an alternative approach, or we can say there is an alternative approach to implement such a structure. This kind of a structure where are two superclasses and one subclass. This kind of structure can be implemented with the help of interfaces, but it would be not counted in inheritance. Like multiple inheritance is not possible, but we can implement it with the help of another concept which is known as interfaces. Okay, so these were the concept of object-oriented programming which I have discussed today. These are the concept of OOPs. Okay, so I have completed the concept of OOPs.